What if I told you that anxiety isn't proof that something is wrong with you, but proof that your nervous system is doing its ancient job, scanning, signaling, and overprotecting a life that matters? What if the knot in your chest, the loop in your head, the shallow breath, the racing heart, were not enemies to be crushed, but messages to be read and redirected? Most people treat anxiety like a verdict. The Stoics treated it like weather. You can't negotiate with clouds, and you don't beg the rain to stop. You prepare, you steer, you move with intent. The Greeks didn't have phones, but they had plagues and politics and uncertainty in every direction, and they built mental craft that still works on modern seas. Today I'm going to hand you 7 Stoic moves that turn anxiety from warden into worker. Practical protocols that fit in your pocket and in your busiest day. Not slogans, not think positive. Real tools for real storms so you can stop being dragged by moods and start being guided by meaning. Before we dive in, make one tiny public commitment that costs nothing and changes everything. Subscribe to the channel right now and hit like so the algorithm that feeds panic gets replaced with tools for calm. And as we move, talk to me in the comments. Does this happen to you? Do loops steal your nights? Does dread arrive when you open your inbox? Do you know someone who lives in what if and forgets what's next? Tag them, share the moment that owns you most, and write one sentence you'll practice today. Your comment is not decoration, it's your first training log. Here's the first move, and if you learn only this, your life will feel different by tonight. Treat anxiety as a signal, not a command. The body sends a surge, the mind suggests a story, and then, if you're untrained, you obey the story like it's law. The Stoic interrupts the chain. Sensation, then inspection, then action, not the other way around. When the tightness arrives, name what's actually present in clean language. Anxiety is present. Do not say, I am anxious. You are not the weather. You are the one holding the umbrella. Then you give your biology something objective to do so your mind can think. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Pause 1, exhale through the mouth for 8. 5 cycles. Put one palm on your belly and make sure it rises and falls. Soften your jaw and widen your gaze so your nervous system exits tunnel mode. When the body believes you're safe, the story loses fuel, and you can ask the most useful question in a storm. Given my role and my values, what is the next honest step? Not the perfect plan, the next honest step. Anxiety loves infinite futures. Steps bring you home to the present. Move 2 is brutal in the best way. Obey the dichotomy of control. Write the situation that is making your stomach clench in one line. Draw a vertical line down the page. On the left, list everything you control. On the right, everything you don't. Then move your hands only on the left column and your heart only on the left column. That means you release your grip on speculation, other people's opinions, and every weather pattern you cannot steer, and you double your grip on preparation, clarity, and conduct. You cannot force the market. You can prepare the pitch. You cannot stop someone from leaving. You can tell the truth with dignity and keep your standards. You cannot make the past fair. You can keep the promises you make today. The Stoics were not allergic to outcomes. They were allergic to shackles. Control is a tiny island. Stand there. That small rock is where sanity returns. Move 3 is the lag, a sacred delay between trigger and speech, between urge and action, between I feel and I do. 2 minutes. It will feel like a lifetime to your pride and like oxygen to your future. The rule is simple. Unless there's danger, you do not send, post, say, or buy anything for 120 seconds after the surge begins. In those seconds, you run your breath count, you drink water, you straighten your posture, and you write one sentence that begins with, I intend. I intend to ask for clarification at 3 p.m. I intend to ship version 1 by 4. I intend to decline politely. Anxiety thrives on speed. Authority thrives on pace. Give your authority 2 minutes to arrive. Move 4 is to make your body your ally, not your saboteur. You cannot outthink a biology you mistreat. Sleep debt counterfeits catastrophe. Caffeine at night counterfeits threat. Blue light at midnight counterfeits noon, and your hormones salute. So you create physical guardrails that don't require motivation. You put your phone to sleep outside the bedroom and charge it where you cannot reach from bed. You dim lights an hour before sleep and end your shower cool for 30 to 60 seconds, so the body lowers heat and the mind gets the message. We are winding down. You walk 10 minutes after meals to smooth glucose peaks and valleys. You take your last caffeine 8 hours before sleep. You train your exhale to be longer than your inhale whenever anxiety stirs. None of this is glamorous, which is why it works. Your nervous system craves rhythm. When you give it rhythm, it gives you options. Move 5 is the diet of inputs. You keep feeding your brain breaking, and you will feel broken. You keep bathing your nervous system in performance and comparison, and you will feel behind even when you are building a life that fits. Anxiety is an amplifier, and inputs are the volume knob. The Stoic solution is not to become ignorant, it is to become a gatekeeper. Give news a single 12-minute window once a day. Midday is best, so your morning is yours, and your night can heal you. Give social media 2 scheduled visits, not a permanent lease in your hands. Silence, unfollow, and block freely. Your attention is a finite budget, not a charity. Read something older than your phone each night so your mind hears a human voice instead of the hum of the dopamine machine. Keep a card on your desk that says, "Inputs make climates." Ask of every app, does this serve my craft or just my chemistry? Then adjust accordingly. Move 6 is voluntary discomfort, practiced like a musician practices scales. Anxiety is often unspent energy with nowhere to go. It's also often the shock of untrained nerves encountering ordinary friction. The Stoics trained on purpose, not to suffer for sport, but to widen their range, so life stopped owning them by surprise. You can do the same. Finish the shower cold. Take a brisk walk in rain without complaint. Say no once a day when your reflex is yes. Ask for what you want and survive the no. Publish something helpful at 80% and schedule version 2. Speak the truth you've been delaying and then practice the lag when heat rises. These tiny frictions teach your nervous system the sentence anxiety never believes. I can feel this and act anyway. Each act plants a flag. Flags become territory. Territory becomes freedom. Move 7 is alignment, purpose over panic, values over mood. Anxiety loves to ask, what if? Purpose answers, what for? Take 10 quiet minutes and write your 3 highest values. The virtues you want your life to sound like when someone reads it out loud after you're gone. Courage, temperance, justice, wisdom are the classic 4. But write what matters to you. Then connect each value to one behavior you can practice today. Courage might be making the call you fear. Temperance might be closing the tab and finishing the page. Justice might be giving credit publicly and taking responsibility privately. Wisdom might be asking a better question instead of making a louder argument. Put those behaviors on a card and carry it. When anxiety flares, you consult the card. Which value can I practice in the next 5 minutes? Anxiety wants you to wait until you feel ready. Values invite you to act until you become ready. And the miracle of this move is simple. Meaning metabolizes tension. When you know what your pain is buying, the pain stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like tuition. Breathe for a second. If even one of these moves created a tiny gap between the surge and the spiral, anchor that gap with a public step. Subscribe and hit like so your future feed includes tools instead of triggers. Drop a line below and be specific. Does this happen to you when plans change? When silence stretches? When numbers dip? When people delay? Do you know someone who performs calm in public and collapses in private? Tag them. Write the one sentence you'll use tonight. Anxiety is present. I will act on my values. Public words become rails. Rails keep trains on track when the weather turns. Now let's put these moves into rooms where anxiety loves to hide. Work, relationships, self, and the late-night loop. At work, anxiety impersonates preparation but really sells you panic. You open your inbox and your chest tightens before you read the second subject line. Old you scrolls, scans, and drowns. Stoic you runs the gatekeeper hour before you open the floodgates. Water, breath, one sentence for your spear task. The one outcome that, if delivered, makes today a win. You put your hands on the first ugly line, so starting requires no courage. When the itch to check arrives, you name it. Urge to switch. breathe out longer than in, stand for water, sit again, and continue. If a message arrives with heat, you obey the lag and the dichotomy. You ask, "What is in my control?" You reply with decision-first clarity, or you schedule a cold reply time. You do not let someone else's adrenaline become your identity. You ship at 80% because usefulness now beats perfection never. You schedule version 2. Anxiety says, "What if they hate it?" Stoic you says, version 2, Monday at 10. Your body relaxes because the plan is real. In relationships, anxiety often wears the mask of mind reading. You sense a tone, invent a script, and rehearse the conclusion until you're responding to a play that never happened. Move 1. Treat sensation as signal, not command. Tight chest present. Move 2. Ask a clean question instead of performing certainty. "When you said that, I felt uneasy. What did you mean?" Move 3. Boundary without biography if the tone stays hot. "I want to hear you. I'm hot. I'll come back at 7. Then actually walk, breathe, and return. Anxiety loves immediacy. Wisdom loves timing. Sometimes the event is real. Someone is withdrawing. Someone is projecting. Someone is testing. Your values card tells you whether to engage, to limit, or to exit. You are not required to explain your childhood to enforce your boundary. One sentence and a consequence will do. Respect grows where drama ends. With self, where anxiety gets loudest, you build bookends that reset your chemistry. Evening first, a shutdown ritual that is short and sacred. 3 lines in a ledger. What I did, what I learned, what I'll do next. 3 outcomes for tomorrow written with verbs. Tools staged in the place where morning you will sit. Lights dimmed. Shower finished cool. Phone to sleep in exile. 1 page of something older than your phone so your mind hears human cadence. A sentence you speak to your body. We are safe. We did enough. We know what's next. Morning then. No screen for 45 minutes. Water, breath, spear, first line. The mind will beg to check. You will teach it not to. You will discover, perhaps for the first time in years, what it feels like to begin the day in command instead of reaction. Anxiety loses half its power when your openings and closings are chosen. Now the late night loop, the most expensive anxiety of all. It arrives at 11:37 p.m. with the certainty of a bad friend. Old you pays it with hours and wakes poorer. Stoic you pays it with a protocol. Exhale longer than inhale for a few cycles. Name the loop out loud, predicting without evidence. Write 3 things you control tomorrow morning and 3 outcomes you'll begin. Put the paper where you'll sit. If a fear is actionable, schedule the action. Call the bank at 10, email the doctor at 9, ask the question at 3, have the talk Friday at 6. If it isn't actionable, write, "Not mine tonight," and close the notebook. Exit the room where the phone lives. Enter the room where sleep repairs what willpower cannot. You'll be tempted to buy 5 minutes of numbness with scrolling. The price is a foggy morning. Decline the deal. Your future self will thank you and anxiety will learn that midnight is closed. Let's put the 7 moves into a 7-day build so you're not collecting ideas, you're installing rails. Day 1. Signal, not command. Every time anxiety appears, you name it and run 5 breath cycles. You log where it shows up most and at what times. Day 2. Dichotomy of control. You draw a line for each active worry and move your hands only on the left. You log 1 result from this focus. Day 3. The lag. 2 minutes before speech, send or spend. You will feel slow, then you will feel safe. Day 4. Diet of inputs. 1 news window, 2 social windows, silence for the rest. You log what your mood does when you stop marinating in panic. Day 5. Voluntary discomfort. Cold finish. 1 honest ask. 1 deliberate no. Ship at 80. Version 2 scheduled. The world does not end. Your nervous system updates its map. Day 6. Alignment. Values card in your pocket. 3 behaviors practiced. Evidence list at night. Anxiety will still knock, but the house will have structure. Day 7. Audit. Where did you break the rules? Where did a small change buy back the most calm? Adjust one environment piece, one sentence you'll say under heat, and one ritual you'll keep even on weekends. Begin the loop again next week, quietly, steadily, like someone who intends to be here a while. Midway reminder, because mid-journey is where willpower leaks. Subscribe now and hit like so episodes like this find you before the next what if steals your morning. And tell me in the comments, does this happen to you at the desk, in the car, at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday? Do you know someone who pretends that stress is their personality? Tag them. Write the exact sentence you'll use this week when anxiety tries to write the script. Anxiety is present. Values decide. Public words are small rails. Small rails keep trains on mountains. Let's test the moves in hot scenes so they live in your hands, not just your head. Your boss writes, "Can we talk?" and offers no context. Your stomach flips. Old you writes a biography in your mind and spends the afternoon fired in 3 different universes. Stoic you runs the lag and the dichotomy. You exhale longer than you inhale. You draft a 1-page status. What's done? What's blocked? Next steps. You reply with a clean question. Absolutely. What outcome should we leave with so I can prepare? Anxiety got you to prepare. Purpose told you what to prepare for. The meeting is uneventful. The story in your head was the only horror. Your body remembers. We can feel a surge and still choose useful work. A friend goes silent. Old you studies every message for imaginary tone and conducts a forensic audit of text bubbles. Stoic you asks yourself what's in your control. A clean check-in, a boundary around rumination, care without mind reading. You send, thinking of you. If you need space, I'll check back Friday. If not, I'm here. Then you mute the thread and put your hands on the day. Friday arrives. They reply with an apology and a story you couldn't have predicted. The gap between what if and what is where anxiety lives rent-free. Your rent control is values plus timing. Your heart races on a crowded train. Old you thinks, "I'm dying," and feeds the loop with catastrophic images. Stoic you names, alarm present. You breathe 418 for 5 cycles. You widen your gaze to pull your nervous system out of tunnel vision. You drop your shoulders, you relax your jaw. You ask your body to find 3 blue objects, 2 square objects, 1 source of airflow. You bring your mind to your senses and away from your cinema. The surge peaks and passes, because surges always do when you stop feeding them. You step off at your stop with a new sentence written into your bones. Panic visited, I didn't pay. You prepare to present. Old you rituals include extra coffee, extra scrolling, and extra comparisons. Stoic you designs rituals that lower chemistry and raise clarity. Water, breath, 5 slow squats, the first sentence spoken out loud. You decline the urge to cram opinions into your head. You remember the dichotomy. You do not control their faces. You control your pace and your emphasis and your transitions. You begin slower than your fear wants and faster than your doubt prefers. You finish with the ask you rehearsed. Later, when anxiety tries to review imaginary disasters, you review evidence instead. The nods, the question you answered well, the spot you will tighten for version 2. Progress, not panic, enters your ledger. Now because you are human, you will break all of this. You will scroll past midnight. You will send heat. You will let anxiety write your day and call it fate. The Stoic does not confuse failure with identity. Repair is the art that keeps you free. Own in 1 sentence without biography. I gave my morning to the feed. Atonement in 1 action that repairs what can be repaired. Walk 10 minutes. Write the first ugly line. Schedule the call you're avoiding. Place the phone in exile. Adjust 1 environment piece. Charger to the kitchen. Notifications off. News window set. Bedtime alarm. Advance with 1 next honest step before the day ends so your identity falls asleep with momentum, not shame. Shame turns mistakes into moods. Repair turns mistakes into teachers. I want you to have pocket language you can deploy when your brain tries to sell you old stories. When the loop starts, not useful, next honest step. When the body surges, alarm present, I'm safe enough to breathe and act. When perfection delays you, useful today, Version 2, Monday at 10. When dread says you must be available 24/7. I'm reachable at the gates and reliable in the arcs. When fear says you need certainty to move, I need clarity for the next step, not certainty for the next year. Words are tools. Use them to pry open the door between feeling and flailing. We'll close with a creed you can carry into the next hour, the kind of words you whisper when the room grows loud and your mind forgets its strength. My anxiety is a messenger, not a master. I read it, I thank it, I direct it. I begin in quiet before I enter the market. I breathe longer on the exhale when the surge arrives. I move only on what I control, and I treat everything else as weather. I leave 2 minutes between heat and speech. I let my body help my mind. I feed my attention signal and starve it of spectacle. I practice small discomfort so big ones don't own me by surprise. I choose values over moods, purpose over panic, the next honest step over the perfect imagined plan. When I fail, I repair. When I fear, I act small and true. When I'm praised, I return to work. When I'm criticized, I mine for signal and discard the rest. I do not wait to feel ready. I become ready by doing what matters. If this pierced the fog even a little, don't let that clarity evaporate into a good feeling. Subscribe to the channel now and hit like so this training meets you again before the next what if steals your morning. And leave one final receipt in the comments. Does this happen to you? Do you know someone who needs to hear that anxiety is not their enemy? Tag them. Write the exact move you'll keep for the next 7 days. Signal not command, dichotomy of control, the 2-minute lag, body guardrails, input diet, voluntary discomfort, values alignment. Then close the app, put your phone to sleep, drink water, breathe 418, write your spear sentence and place your hands on the first honest line. Anxiety will knock. Let it knock. You will be busy living.